Now, our next story is a truly inspirational one. 3 years ago, Sarah and Chris Urry's daughter, Willow, was stillborn. Their world was completely turned upside down.
But in an unexpected turn of events, their heartache was turned into gratitude thanks to 14-year-old Harry Stott and his school teacher, Miss Taylor. They join us now alongside Sarah and Chris. And thank you all for coming today. You've only just met properly for the first time today, so we'll come to that in just a minute. But first of all, Sarah and Chris, I wanted to start off with you and just to talk about Willow a little bit, because this was 2016. And I think, Sarah, you were pregnant at 41 weeks and 5 days, and you noticed that she wasn't moving. She didn't, when you were quite active, she sort of would be quite still.
Yeah,
but then
so when I was up and about cleaning, she was always very quiet, and just happened to casually mention at a midwife appointment she'd been a bit quieter than usual.
And so she listened, and she could hear the heartbeat, all fine. But obviously, because 41 weeks and 5 days, she sent you off to have a further
just for a quick checkup.
And of course, then the unimaginable happens when they check.
And sadly, she'd passed away.
And she had passed away, and I'm so sorry. I mean, that is just every parent's worst nightmare. There's no doubt about that.
She was born on your birthday as well.
She was, yes.
I mean, completely and absolutely heartbreaking. Tough for any parents, any couple to deal with that. And so you decided that on her birthday, every year, that you would you'd honour her in some way, remember her in some way. So what sort of things did you do?
Well, normally we donate money to a lovely charity called Abby's Fund. That's been the previous 2 years.
And they provide memory boxes to parents of stillborn babies, which is a lovely thing to do, lovely idea.
Yeah, we've got lots of things in that memory box to take home with us that you just wouldn't think to do at the time yourself.
And so this year, what did you do?
We just bought a load of chocolates and flowers, and we left them at bus stops, and we left them outside the cemetery where Willow was buried. We left them. What else did we do?
Chocolates, flowers,
flowers.
Beverley, Kingswood, Willoughby Road.
And so Willoughby Road. And so you left a little note on them, and the little note just explained a little bit about what you were doing and your reasons behind it. And by doing this, what did that do for you as Willow's parents?
It was just nice to do something in the hope that somebody would pick it up and, you know, maybe make somebody's day a little bit brighter. And we didn't expect anything.
Well, then it was picked up. One of them was picked up. And that letter which you mentioned said, this random act of kindness was left in memory of Willow Amelia Urry, who would have been 3 today, born sleeping, 30th of the 9th, 2016. And so along comes Harry. So Harry, what, were you on your way to school?
No, on the way back from school.
Right.
But you just seemed normal. I was walking, saw it on the floor.
Those are the ones you found?
Yeah. Got the
They've been
empty now.
So you found those. And what did you think then when you read? Did you understand what it was about?
Yeah. I was a bit gobsmacked, really. I thought it was just, like, you walk around, like, see some litter on the floor, like someone's accidentally dropped it, but this one's actually got meaning.
Yeah.
And it's really nice.
And so then what you thought you'd do was take it into school and talk about it. And this is where you come in, Miss Taylor, because this is the PHSE lesson, isn't it? And what did you think when he brought this in to explain?
Well, he came in and said, oh, look what I found. And I thought he'd just picked them up. And I was like, Harry, what are you doing? You need to take them back. And he said, no, read it. So I sort of welled up, and I couldn't believe it, really. And the fact that it was celebrations and it was celebrating something that was so heartbreaking. So we sit in a circle and do PSHE through circle time. We're developing like emotional literacy. I'm really passionate about it in young men. And we talked about what stillbirth meant. We talked about what that might feel like for a family that had gone through it. And the boys were really respectful, weren't they, Harry?
So PHSE is personal health, social and economic. And so you explain what you get out of those classes, Harry.
It's just, like, a time to unwind and, like, just, like, think about everything a bit more clearly. Instead of, like, the hustle and bustle of school, like, you just get to sit down for one lesson and just calm.
And this is it can be anything, wide-ranging subjects. You talk about anything you want to talk about, mindfulness, so you can talk about yourselves or get in touch with your inner self, that sort of thing. And you would imagine that, you know, a bunch of teenage lads would think, really? But you all get quite a lot out of that, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Everyone seems to enjoy it.
No, it's really important. And so then it was decided, once you'd all spoken about it and bringing up really tough conversations, actually, like stillbirth, really important. But then you decided to write letters. And these letters were for you two. Yes. So each boy wrote a letter, and you wrote yours, didn't you, Harry? What did you say in yours?
I was just saying, like, how much, like, I felt for them and that we're all together and no one should go through it alone.
Oh.
And so how did you feel when you saw all the letters?
Cried a lot.
I bet you
It's
did.
so emotional, but so lovely.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
You know, from strangers and in particular teenage boys. You know, they do get a bad rep in the press, don't they? But just wow. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lovely
And so, and then, you know, you posted the letters on social media and...
No, I rang Harry's mum that night. We dedicated our mindfulness to the Urry family. So I said to the boys, let's either put our hand on our heart and just send some love to this family and just honour the memory of this little girl. And then we wrote them. I rang Harry's mum and she sort of said, oh, what's he done? And I said, no, he's done something amazing. He could have taken those home and sat on his own and eaten them all. And he brought them in and shared it, and 30 young men got to talk about this sensitive thing, got to empathise, got to really, you know, be compassionate and caring and do something beautiful. So Harry's mum found you guys, didn't she? Because I said, I've got these letters, I'm desperate to get them to the family, but I don't know who they are. So she found them for me. Harry came running in a week later, didn't you, with the address? And I just posted it off in the hope that they'd know that it's...
It's what's lovely is that it has got wider recognition. It's got wider recognition for what you went through and the charities that you are supporting. And obviously, you know, you said that teenage boys get a bad rep. You know, you and your mates have, and I know they're all watching today, so hi to them.
Hello.
Hi to Beverley Grammar School.
And they'll be pleased about this next bit and the rest of the teachers who've allowed them off their lessons because of that, we thought we would give you something, like a random act of kindness. And so this is it here. This is a whole bunch of sports stuff, which I think will be useful for the school. There's badminton, obviously there's football, there's tennis, there's all sorts of stuff.
You can carry all that home, can't you? That'll be a bigger
Thank you so much.
So well done.
Well done.
And,
Well done.
and
It's a
thank
lovely
you very
story.
much for coming.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much
much.
from everybody that'll get to use the thing.
Thank you. We should mention the school as well.
Yeah, Beverley Grammar School, love to everybody that's there now, all the staff, all the students. And thank you on their behalf for this. It's amazing.
You're very welcome.